Hello, my name's Renee Baribeau, the practical shaman, and I am happy to be here today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sandra Ingerman, and welcome to the Shaman's Cave. And so we have a really, really interesting show today. And I was actually asked by people who are reading a post on my author site. People actually asked if Renee and I could do a show on this topic. So I'm kinda introducing it and so Renee can enter into the flow because I absolutely positively know that Renee has a lot, that she can share, to add to what I'll share. And so what I shared on Facebook, and I also shared in my transmutation news, is that, um, we live in a universe where everything is energy. We think we're form, but we're really just energy. Everything is energy. And in the ordinary world, in the middle world, we teach people to send the energy of love, be the energy of love, and be careful about what you send out into the world because you can actually make people pretty sick by the energies that you send out into the world. And we've done a lot of shows on this. This is like the oldest shamanic teaching that exists of what how energy can affect others, what you do with it. But the bottom line is we live in a world that doesn't understand that. That live in a world that doesn't understand that when you send anger to another person, that it could make another person sick. And that because you sent anger, that anger comes back to you and you can get sick from it. But another way to look at this, which is a really powerful way of working in the world that we're living in right now, is how do we take the negative energies that are creating just chaos in our world right now and transmute them into light and transmute them into life force that you can use to be more creative and have more energy to use in your own life. And so the example I give of this is I was at a workshop once and I was teaching a seeing game, a shamanic seeing game. And there was a woman who won the game very quickly. And I had never seen that before in all my years of teaching the game. And so I asked her what she was doing, and she said that she played the cello in the symphony, and that when people came in to watch the symphony at night, they might be really mad at their boss, or they might be bored, they might be tired, they might be so excited about what they're getting ready, the music they're getting ready to hear, all the emotions people come into a performance with. You can only imagine all the emotions people come into a performance with. And what my student learned how to do was to transmute all that energy so that it wasn't negative or positive. It was neutral energy that was available for her to use to feed her own life force so that she could become the best musician possible. And I think that with living in the chaotic times that we're living in, and I think we can all feel ourselves being pulled to all kinds of places because there's so much chaos going on right now in the world. Um, Imagine if you had the ability to take all that chaotic energy and instead of saying, "Oh my god, I cannot deal with this anymore," um, you can transmute that energy to feel more creative, to feel more lively, to feel more passionate, to have more strength to create the world you wanna live in.
Like a really great and interesting topic today. In the wind work, I have a course called The Dynamics of Creativity, and there's five wind dynamics, and one of them is chaos, and another one is oppositional forces, process order, partnership with nature, and gestation. And the chaos creations are some of the most profound ones. So if you want to think about how to become more creative in this time of what the nature's already giving us, the chaos, we we it's for me it's a matter of looking that what can I grab out of this abyss? What is the potential to be formed from this chaos if I can find a strand that I can nourish? And to remember that this chaos is just think about winds swirling around, and they're swirling until till we can nourish it into something that's more useful. And so if we get caught up in the mess, in the swirly mess, then anything you're going to try to do at this time is just going to elude you. And so the role for me in my life is like, how do I be of this world and of this chaos, but midwife something better for myself, better for the world? And, how do I become this better steward with this? And so for me, what I've done to anchor myself is I'm thinking like, okay, what do I value? What is the true essence of my values that I want to shine forth no matter which wind is blowing out there?
Yeah, that's a really beautiful way to work. For myself, I work with the medicine for the earth work that I teach, and what the core of the medicine for the earth work is really around every single energy that exists can be transmuted. And the word transmuted means can be changed into transformed into love and light. And so when you read the news and when you're out in the world and you're in a store and you see people acting out and there's just all this chaos, you're in a field of energy that is just completely filled with chaos. Um, you have to remember that perception creates your reality. And so if you're in the store and you're going, "Oh my god, this energy is so chaotic. I can't wait to get out of here." You're being pulled down by the field of energy that you stepped into. But you have power and you have choice because we are a seed of source and we're all divine beings. And so we have the power to say that energy is just energy. And I set my intention to transmute, transform. So it's just about the intention that you're holding in your mind while you do this. I make a choice to transform this chaotic energy into light and love that fills my body with a different energy field that allows me to have a different perception of what's going on in the store and to be able to walk through the store in a place of peace.
Mhm.
So it's all about the choices that we make and the intentions that we set.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And if we think about just like this, the weekly news cycle, if we could be in this place where you're talking about transmuting and I'm talking about anchoring in this place, the enemy of chaos is order. And so if we become orderly and just if we just stop paying attention to it all and tend to our gardens and our yards and our lives and our health and our families and just don't give it all of the swirling attention, I think that it could naturally die out because I think a lot of what's going on now is being like a wind to a fire being created in order to stir the pot. So imagine just being there and not pot stirring.
Yeah, and that's really wonderful, and I love that a lot of people are choosing to do that now, to create communities and work in their own communities and to disconnect from a lot of what's going on. But for those of you who that's not an option for at this particular point in time, and you find yourself working in offices and you find yourself going to stores and you find yourself driving in places where this is life. This is just life. We all have to go through this. We all have to go to the store. A lot of us have to go to the post office. A lot of us have to run errands. And we're just living in a time, unless you have gotten to a place which a lot of people are working on, and I think it's unbelievably beautiful, and it's what Renee and I have been supporting people to do for years, is disconnect and get back into nature and get back into community life. But for those of us who can't do that, we're still thrown into the collective, whether we watch the news or not. You can set your intention and just say the words to yourself. It takes a few seconds. I choose to transform this chaotic energy into the energy of love and light that I can use to feed myself and to also emanate out into the world and into the chaos I'm in right now to do some healing. And so that's always a choice.
Mhm.
It's always a choice that we have, that we can transform chaos into an energy that is peaceful, that is harmonious, and can help the field of energy that we're in. And it has to do with making a decision to change your perception to this is an awful energy to I have the power to shift this energy into a beautiful energy that feeds myself and all of life.
That's so true. And the other people, even if, going to the post office doesn't bother you, most of us are empaths. So no matter what, we're feeling it all the time. And so I think that that would probably work for the feelings of, oh my God, I'm just feeling all of this overwhelm. One of the things that I created for myself and my clients is I have them recognize that feeling and identify it either in a symbol or a word, write it on the air, and then we call to Madame Feng Popo. She rides down on her tiger with her wind sack, and she collects up that energy, and she takes it back out, beyond the furthest galaxy, and transmutes it out there with love and light, and dissolves it. And I found one time when I was new at this, and this was a minute ago, that I had I had called in some energy that wasn't serving me, and, one of my friends was so mad at me, she told me that I needed to send it back, and so it took me weeks. So sometimes it could be done in when you're standing in line at the store, and other times this is might be something that we have to do many times, and so for weeks, this energy that was at my house, I so I visualized, uh, a dump truck. I put it all the stuff in that dump truck, and I had to remove it from my space, and it was before I knew about, transmuting it with love and light, and I would just take it back to another field that wasn't in my field, and I just put it there because it wasn't mine and I didn't know how to deal with it. But now to know that you can actually, put the love and light into it and transmute it back to energy is a helpful add to that.
Yeah, because from a shamanic point of view, if you just put it in a dump truck and send it somewhere, it just comes back to you again.
Mm, 3
Y
weeks.
Yeah, stir Isis, she taught me, when I first met her, because I was getting psychically attacked so much in Santa Fe, and, it was when I was still young and didn't know a whole lot, and she said to me, "You act like you're a victim in all of this," and she said, "When you get a package that you don't want in the mail," and this was back in the days when we did get packages that we didn't
Mail.
want in the mail, it was a long time ago, you actually wrote the words on the package, "Return to sender,"
Mm,
and you brought it back to the post, office guy to return it to the sender, and they did. But a powerful lesson in shamanism is to always return to sender with love,
mhm.
because if you return the negative energy to sender, it really just comes back to you again, and so the loop never, never ends. So it's important for us to understand, Renee, you found, working with Madame Popo and, you found your own way to do this and your own way to teach it to people. I found a way from scouring through all the alchemical, books back when I was writing Medicine for the Earth back in the, early '90s about the power of transmutation and how you can transmute anything. You can transmute absolutely anything. And so it would be really great if you do a meditation or a journey and find something that works for you. What would work for you personally? What calls to you personally? Is it working with a spirit? To ask to transmute something that you've taken on? Is it doing a ceremony to transmute something that was sent to you? What works for you? Because shamanism is about direct revelation, and this is a time on the planet where we can learn a lot from others. But if you can do the inner work and come up with your own ways to work, then you're evolving.
Right. Yeah, I think I did send that I think I was just being a little generous here when I said I took it to a field. I was returning to the sender, and it was, and just be gentle on yourself if it does take you a minute. I mean, Sandra and I are both talking about times that we had to learn way, way, way long time ago. It's probably a little easier to do it with more of a snap of a finger these days, but back then, I probably needed to sit in that minutia for weeks to really learn the lesson about who I was going to let into my life and who I wasn't going to let into my life. And then that goes with news sources. Do I open the news? Do I not read it? Do I not scroll the Facebook? We get options of where we even start with this stuff to begin with. And but there's some days you're just sitting in it and you feel like, God, that earth, it feels heavy out there. And so I find when that happens to me, if I go out and put my hands in the earth and work in my garden for a few hours, it transmutes it all for me.
Absolutely. Being in nature is always a way to transmute. Absolutely. And we really both want to encourage you in this time to be able to get your own revelations about
Mhm.
things. And so when people ask me on Facebook, how do I do this on the Shaman's Cave page or on my own page? Because that question is asked on the Shaman's Cave page a lot. How do I? Um, you journey on it. You come up with your own answers. You don't ask people from the outside. You become your own authority, and that's what we're being asked to do right now is to become our own authorities and so that we can change our own lives.
Absolutely. And to come here and listen to us because we walk you through it the way we walk through it. And so this is always a good place to come. And if you have ideas and questions for the show, we love to see them in the Facebook group as well. The Facebook group lately is becoming people, they're either asking a question, but I'm not feeling that people are sharing from their heart and their real experiences. I feel like I'm being lectured a lot lately over there with, these pontifications. So I'd really would prefer people to come back and start to talk about, wow, I heard that on the Shaman's Cave today, and this is what the experience is for me. And does anyone else have the same experience, or share with me yours?
Yeah, and, just something very practical, uh, I have a Facebook page that's different from the Shaman's Cave, and it's called, Shamans or Gardeners of Energy, and a lot of people now on the Shaman's Cave page are confused, and you think it's Shamans of Gardeners of Energy. Shamans of Gardeners of Energy is just to post, photos and poems and, things that you wrote yourself to, just share beauty. It's
Mm.
just a page to share beauty. No questions, no teachings. It's just a page to share beauty. And so a lot of you are actually saying that you think you're on the Shamans of Gardeners of Energy and you're sharing. So those are just two different pages.
Mhm.
And the Shaman's Cave is really for people who are devoted to the practice of shamanism, who wanna share, what they're getting from the spirits instead of what they're getting off of AI, uh, and, um, and trying to be a community that helps each other by sharing, the deepest stuff, not what you're getting from others, but what you're getting from your own spiritual work. And I think that's what the times are calling for
Mm.
because we're getting so distracted with people just sharing all these things that are distracting, period.
That's a chaos creator for me, when I
Right,
have to go read through them and approve them or disapprove them, and how far do I have to research to find whether or not it's even true or not true. So if I have to go too far, I just deny it. But and I have the Wind Clan for people who are more interested in interested in going a little deeper with the wind and the wind work. So you can join us over there. It's a private group. I think Shamans or Gardener of Energy is a private group as well, but you can find both of them.
right.
And we have 7 years of, replays over at shamanstv.com and on YouTube. So if you're feeling and you're looking for a strand to grab onto, go over to Shamans TV and look through our archives.
Yeah, we keep sharing this, and we are talking about old topics, but we're making them more relevant because every day life changes on planet Earth, and so it's not looking for the new things to talk about, it's going deeper with the practices that we know have been working for tens of thousands of years, and so, that's what we're trying to share, and that's how we're trying to inspire you at this particular time.
So thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Blessings, everyone.